Hello, friends, and happy Sabbath to all of you out there. I'm Ganem Hanna, along with wonderful colleagues here. Actually, three of us against one, for lack of better words, and it's not really against, I'm just being playful. Pastor Miguel Mendez, who is one of University Church associate pastors.
That's right, Ganem. We're all intermingled here in beautiful Loma Linda.
Yes, we are. And just in the spirit of playfulness, I said three against you. It's just going to take three of us to keep up with you, what it comes down to.
That's right.
You so blessed us last Sabbath as we were listening to you through University Church Sabbath School. I was watching you at home, and you remember I even texted you. That was just very powerful and insightful.
Thank you. And thank all our friends out there who are watching and tuning in.
Yeah,
And
well,
I love the Q&A. I love that.
Isn't that fun?
I love the interaction, the questions, and it's a ministry in itself.
It is really fun. And just so you know, we don't choose the questions there. We take them as they come, so no softballs there.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, Stu Hardy did a great job. He's the pastor in charge of media at University Church, and it was just nice to see him, on the air, not just behind the scene.
Stu's great, Ganem. You know what? I didn't know. We are finding all these hidden talents in our staff. Stu is a better interviewer than Barbara Walters, so that you all know.
Well, make sure you tell him.
I have.
He can be
Okay.
the new Barbara Walters because she's retired now. So.
Well, folks, we're with Sheila Hodgkins, Pastor Miguel Mendez, and Bob Blancato.
Hello there.
As we're all just happy to be with you and wish to share with you some uplifting information. But before we go any further, Sheila, do you have verse of the day for us?
I do. It's found in Hebrews 10:23, and it says, "Let us hold tightly without wavering to the hope we affirm, for God can be trusted to keep his promise."
Amen.
Pastor, what's your take on this verse?
What apropos words that God has for us today. Let us hold firmly. It is a time of uncertainty, isn't it? We've got potential with food shortages and financial collapse, and a lot of people wondering what to do with unemployment rates soaring. It is a time of uncertainty, and here God is giving us a word that grounds us. So it is particularly apropos for this time, Sheila.
So I'm going to throw a question at you here before we get into the other information to share with our viewers. So some people say, why is God letting this happen? Well, it's not really God letting this happen. Well, he may allow it to happen, but where's it coming from? The source of difficulties and the source of suffering.
Yeah, well, how amazing is it that we as Adventists have this beautiful meta-narrative, right? The story of the great controversy. And so when we are looking at events that happen, we know that it's not God. We know that God has an adversary, and that it is God's adversary who is attempting to get us to despair, to doubt, to moments of fear and anxiety. And so Ganem, I've asked that question. I'm sure our friends out there have asked the question, why is this happening? I haven't found it to be a particularly helpful question to ask. I've actually now changed my approach a bit. And the question that I'm asking now isn't why is this happening? It is what is God's purpose for my life, even in the midst of this crisis? And if our friends out there kind of change the mindset a little bit, it is amazing what begins to happen and what opportunities to enflesh God in the lives of others become available.
Well said. Of course, many of us grew up wondering every time there's major events and changes in world status or wars or whatever may, large devastating event take place, we always connect that as signs of end of times. We know that may not be the last sign. That might be one of many or one of few left. We don't know. But I have never seen in my lifetime, 63 years of age, that feels like a couple of centuries with the number of mileage I have put on myself. Never I've seen anything where it paralyzed the world to its knees, and it is just touching all demographics. No one can be exempt from it. I mean, we're all subjected to it. Presidents of nations, CEOs of companies, homeless, pastors, male, female. It just seems like what is happening is a direct attack by the adversary of God. You know, he's doing something big and bad.
Yeah.
And this could be the beginning of many other bad things. I mean, we don't know where it's going to go. Not trying to frighten us, but it doesn't look good, Pastor.
It doesn't. You know what I find incredible? Human beings have this great capacity for becoming and creating these grandiose systems and assumptions, right? We've built cathedrals, we've gone to the moon, we've had all these technological advances. And so it's very easy to begin to think that we are it, that we are the crowning jewel of creation, that we have control over the world. And this reminds us how completely powerless we are. I mean, this little virus that is microscopic has, as you've stated, put the world on standstill. And so I think it's an important moment to just pause and realize that we, even in the midst of all we've created, are still creatures, and we have the need to connect to a creator.
Right, right. Well, I love your answer, but also and forgive me for babbling here, but it also shows us the master of deception, the adversary of God, is creative and capable of bringing harm to humanity and to God's creation. Although we know God mightier and able to stop all that, but I'm sure comes a time with the Lord, as we had a pastor here a couple of weeks ago saying, look what happens without me, without my protection. Look what Satan able to do. So just a statement to add to our conversation. How would you like to close on this topic?
Just reminding our friends out there that, yes, there is a great controversy. I think, Ganem, you're absolutely right. There is a fight, both on this planet and in heaven. And what I love in Scripture is that God's message, particularly as we think of times that are difficult, and I'm thinking primarily of the message in Revelation, is don't be afraid.
Amen.
God touches John's on the shoulder, and the first thing he says before he gives him visions and times and anything is he tells him, don't be afraid. And so our friends out there, I know you're anxious, I know you're feeling nervousness, but don't be afraid. In the end, I think, Ganem, and we would all agree, the Lamb wins. And so let's just stay the course.
Right.
Amen. Well,
Have no fear.
Have no fear, Bob.
well, and the truth is, we know He's our advocate. So as believers, we're not afraid, but we are observing and noticing the changes happening to this world. And in some sense, it's almost rejoiceful. In some sense, like, wow, could this be part of a beginning of a whole new era of events? And we're not looking at it in fear. We're looking at it as like, well, the Bible spoke of all these things.
Yeah,
Spoke of all these things. So it's not surprising to the believers.
absolutely.
Thank you for taking the time to tackle this subject. And thank you, dear colleagues, for being with us. Bob, the pastor, is on Christian Connections tonight.
That's
You want to
right.
tell our viewers how to catch him with his wonderful message that he delivered?
That's right.
Or about to deliver?
Yeah, about to deliver and will deliver tonight at 6:30 p.m. That's Pacific time, of course. It'll be the final airing of Christian Connections with Pastor McGill. He's the host of Rediscover on LLBN, by the way, his own program, as well as the study pastor at the Loma Linda University Church. Now, he's going to be discussing Jesus and the Canaanite woman. It comes from the book of Matthew, chapter 15. Now, the music, this is great. The music is by a very talented young performers. They're a duo called MAP, which stands for Music with a Purpose. Their names are Josh and Mia. They had a remarkable performance at our groundbreaking recently for the Great Commission Broadcast Complex that LLBN is now building. So they'll be here. You'll see them tonight at 6:30, and you won't want to miss the program along with them. And Pastor McGill, you too. I don't want to leave you out of this. Again, 6:30 tonight, LLBN.
Thank you, Bob. Sheila, last week we talked about our sister network, His Light, and its children programming on Sabbath. We want to remind our viewers Now, there's a whole block of children animated programs airing from Sabbath morning till the afternoon. Have you had a chance to watch it this week?
I didn't get a chance to watch it this week, but I'm excited to watch it this week, this next week.
I'll text you and remind you.
Yeah, remind me when it's on. Can you remind me when it's on?
Of course, of course. So, folks, you really want to, if you have children or grandchildren, you do want to direct them to His Light TV, which is adjacent to this channel, His Word. His Light is adjacent to it. It has about 5 to 6 hours block of children animated programs. It is wonderful. It is educational. And we hear back from many adults who also watches it and enjoy these programs. So we dedicated Sabbath morning through afternoon for our young children to be blessed by programs on His Light. Go ahead.
That's right, Ganem. In fact, the animated programs will be on next Sabbath. You can catch it because they begin at 7 a.m. Pacific time if you live out on the West Coast, and it goes to 1 p.m. Pacific time.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for sharing that with us. Sheila, what's on your mind today?
Well, I was just thinking when I was passing through about we're building, and I saw that we're starting to pour the concrete soon. They're shaping it up. And it costs $150 per square foot, which reminds me it's $150 per hour to keep LLBN going and all over the world, the good news of Jesus. And I just want to invite all of you friends, this is all volunteer here, because I know they could find somebody better than me. So I'd love to have your prayers and everything that you feel compelled, God leading you to donate this way so we can spread more of the wonderful news of Jesus.
Amen. So it's $150 an hour for operation, including all of our broadcasting.
Correct.
And then it's another $150 per square foot to build the building.
Yes, and I'm excited about that because there's going to be a lot of new programs, including a new church service program, and it'll just give more opportunity to spread the good news in different ways, different programming. So it's not necessarily the building, but it's the message that will give opportunities for all these different types of programming.
That's correct. So you mentioned the church program. Actually, we call it LLBN Worship Program. It's an hour-long program. It's going to premiere in June, first Friday of June, and we carry it on. So we'll give you more information on the actual live broadcast times as well as the repeat times in the next few weeks. Bob, 30 seconds. You have a message or letter to read for us?
Okay, I have a quick one here from Robert and Dawn in Medina, Ohio. They write to say, "We do appreciate your ministry and thank you for being a dependable companion during these stay-at-home times." We really appreciate hearing that. Thank you so much, Robert and Dawn, and we will pray for you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Pastor McGill. We're looking forward to listening to your sermon this evening on LLBN. And Sheila, you and Bob got a new program. Just in 10 seconds, tell us about it, what it's about.
Well, we just read the Bible together. And for those who want to follow along, we don't do any commentary, which I love. We just strictly read the Bible, and I always learn something new every time.
Wonderful. And that program will premiere soon here on LLBN, and we will give you the airing times hopefully in the next week or two. Thank you for being with us. May the Lord bless your Sabbath and your week.